Good afternoon, my fellow Spurs fans, and welcome back. We are Tottenham TV with your boys David and Jacob, bringing you basically your pre-match pump-up until the live watch-along kicks off in the studio with the boys, and we will be going just as soon as they are out. Just quickly, let's welcome in Aaron Hickok as well to the We Are Tottenham TV family, grabbing himself a membership. Why don't many of you do the same and show your support to the boys and their excellent channel? But of course, we are here for the big one today as Tottenham welcome Brighton down to N17 and hopefully take out some revenge on the reverse fixture where we lost 4-2 and we were 4-0 down up until 75 minutes and we were largely out-dominated today, and a crucial game in terms of trying to string some momentum together and put pressure on the teams above us. But Jake, how are you, my man? Feeling after last week's late disappointment, and then what's your thoughts heading into today's game?
Well, good morning, Dave, from not so sunny El Paso just yet. The sun hasn't risen where I'm at. Anyone in America on the West Coast knows the pain that I'm in. I'm not on the West Coast, unfortunately, but I am well, David. Always blessed to share the screen with you. Always blessed to be here on We Are Tottenham TV. Yeah, it's a little bit early, just past 6:30 in the morning here, but the dog's awake. I had a little bit of breakfast, checked on the wife and the baby. We're all good. It's perfect game day. It's the perfect formula for a game. Anyone in America knows the pain of you wake up, you're sneaking around the house like a burglar of some kind, trying to not wake anybody but you need to get something in you. I've got my caffeinated beverage. I've got my water. I'm ready to go, Dave. Honestly, can't wait to see what these lineups are going to look like. But before that, I do want to kindly suggest that every single person in the house right now hit the like button for Ben and Sim here on We Are Tottenham TV. That is free. It's absolutely free to do. To hit that like button, hit the subscribe to the channel. Those are two ways you can support this channel, because to be quite honest, you're here, I'm here, we are here. Let's all let's get ready for, I'm saying 3 points. I believe what you said as well, Dave. We have to get our revenge. I personally have a vendetta against seagulls. I'm an animal lover, but seagulls are the one animal. There's exceptions to rules, but I would assume Tottenham Hotspur, the players, Ange Postecoglou, the fans at that stadium all have that same feeling towards seagulls that I have on a daily basis. And if we can, harness that power, Dave, I think we're going to be good.
I really do hope so. Look, for me, I just want to give them a good beat down, the way they gave us. Now, I get that big up Kaylee Davies as well.
She's an hour earlier than me, so she's got it worse than I do. Yeah.
Do you know, commitment from Spurs fans around the world, absolutely. Got all the other New Zealanders that are staying up late. You've picture yourself and all the sort of people out in Asia now where it's really early for them. And you got me smack bang into the day, sitting. It's absolutely unbelievable worldwide from Spurs fans. A lot of people getting up early. Some still have a full day of work ahead of them after the game to is absolutely unbelievable. But look, about going to the expect points, I think the soft free kick we gave away last week at the end of the game against Everton was completely avoidable. The amount of late goals we're shipping is becoming a problem. And, it's starting to catch up with us. You'd maybe argue earlier on in the season it didn't catch up on us, but it is now. And there's a few issues that we need to get sorted out. But we got our biggest beatdown of the season against Brighton. They absolutely walloped us and played us off the park for a good 65, 70 minutes that night. They pressed us really high, and we had Ben Davies and Emerson at centre-back, not the strongest midfields. And they capitalised on that. We really struggled to sort of play through them and play Ange ball. It was that bad that the carry-on near the end of the first half ended up started pumping it long to the wingers and stuff like that, just to try and get us up the pitch. Hopefully today we can reverse that and we can be the sort of aggressive team in the press them up nice and hard, not allowed to play out from the back, because we tried it in the reverse fixture, but not everyone went together. It wasn't coordinated, and Brighton just basically played through it. So today for me is about being just as aggressive as they were in the reverse fixture back in December. Press them nice and high, look to take the ball off them and go and score a few goals. Where I think Brighton, where I don't think their press might not be as effective this time round, is we've got Romero and Van de Ven back. Van de Ven, if the option isn't on to pass it, he can run with it, no problem about that. But you look at Romero, he has the ability with one pass to be able to beat that press and play beyond that. So I think that will sort of hopefully make it a little bit of a different fixture this time round, along with Papa Matsar back in the midfield, someone who turns over the ball regularly. Since he's been missing, our midfielders just been basically walked through. So I do think with having Van de Ven, Romero and Sarr back for this fixture where they weren't in the reverse fixture, also along with Maddison, I think it'll be a huge plus for us going into this game and hopefully turn the tide, and hopefully we can inflict, a 4-goal on them today, Jacob.
Yeah, in my prediction, I said I wanted to see us pay them back and fold how they paid us the first time we met them at the Amex Stadium. There was a lot of things that weren't great about our performance on the day, and you could start off with the 11, but to be quite frank, they were just better. They were the better side. But there were pieces that they're going to be missing that, for me, João Pedro, I think he had a brace and an assist, maybe 2 assists last time we played. I'd have to pull the numbers up, but
2 goals, and he scored 2 penalties.
He had 2 goals. I think one was open play, one was a penalty, but I think he also had an assist. He was having an amazing day, and I was really looking forward to Cuti Romero versus João Pedro, because João Pedro had the luxury of not going face to face with Cuti Romero, and I think when you face a Cuti Romero, things are a little bit different for you. As you can see in the back, it isn't lit because the sun hasn't risen, but I do have my Romero shirt. It is on full display. I think that's a player that has come under a lot of scrutiny, whilst expectations for him were rising. And for me, my expectations of him rose this year. He was vice captain, starting to get ingratiated into this. And he, for me, is going to be a difference maker today. Cuti, I think no João Pedro is going to be something that plays into our hands. But Matoma, the Japanese winger, is someone who's also going to be likely to start, but either way, he's going to be on the bench or he's going to start. So he's going to be in the game in some capacity. But for me, the part that you spoke on first that I really think is the most crucial is progressing the ball from our back to our front. And Pascal Gross for them is so instrumental in everything that they do, from building out the back, sitting in their block, coming out and playing. We were missing James Maddison. We were missing Bentancur, Bissouma. Yeah. It doesn't matter. This is what I can't wait for whenever the lineups come out, is what our midfield is going to look like. So, without looking at them too much, I do want to ask you, Dave, what is your ideal midfield? Because I know James Maddison, Papa Matsar, I feel like those are 2 shoo-ins. We know those 2 are going to start. It's that third midfielder. Who do you think is going to fill that role?
Do you know what? It's a big call, and look, let's get it right. It's a good sign that we're sitting here talking about picking between Bentancur and Bissouma, who comes in that deeper role. Look, when it comes to Bentancur, right, he was poor against Man City, taken off at halftime against Brentford, and taken off after 60-odd minutes against Everton, which shows Ange Postecoglou is not too happy with him. But let's not forget, he's back off a long-term injury, came back, and then suffered a setback as well. So, it's going to take him a while to get fully fit and firing and back to where he was before that injury happened. When it comes to Basuma, I think many people sort of forget the poor run of games that he was on before he even got that sending off against Forest. My problem with Basuma wasn't the sending off against Forest. My problem with Basuma is largely what I've seen from Tottenham this year. Is I felt like when we were in the ascendancy and looking to kill teams off, I felt like he often slowed it down an awful lot. And stuff like that. And I just think he wasn't affecting games. I think he was in really poor form. And I think he should be made earn his spot back, to be honest with you, Basuma. He bowed out early, with his suspension, went to AFCON early and stuff like that. For me, I start with Bentancur, and if I'm Ange Postecoglou, I make Basuma earn it. And I don't start him in this midfield until he's absolutely unbelievable, head and shoulders above everyone else in training. And then you unleash him and put him back in for me. I know it sounds maybe a bit incredibly harsh, but that's where I'm at with it. I don't forget the run of bad games Basuma had. Who would you go with?
For me, Basuma has had a really bad go of it, and I liked Ange Postecoglou really said some of it was his own doing, some of it was not. But I feel like Yves Basuma, he wants to prove to us, to himself, to Ange Postecoglou, to everybody that he is the true number 8 for us. He got the number 8 shirt, and I think the responsibility is on him to be what he was when, the first, I think it was 8 or 9 matches. I can't remember when it was, because Luton is when, for me, Dave, that I really started to see not some good signs from Basuma was after the Basuma game. But real quick, I haven't seen referees booking anybody for simulations since that Luton match. I just want to throw that out there. That
Sterling dived against us a couple of times, didn't get one booking for it, did he?
Godfrey, same thing versus Everton. Yeah. He did the phantom. I think he tried to play up Richarlison getting hurt. He did the phantom like he got hit on the foot or something. But anyway, that's besides the point. For me, Dave, who I'm picking in the midfield, I'm going Basuma because I think A, he's got something to prove, and B, you got to give him a chance to prove it. And by starting him today says the onus is on you. If Molly was about to play, he would be fit to play. So fitness for me is no excuse. And I would say the same thing for Heung-min Son as well. The Asia Cup game is today, if I'm not mistaken. So he would be fit to play today had they gone through. So he should be fit to play for us as well. Now, again, I do leave that to Ange's discretion, who he believes to be the most fit for the job. But I think Basuma, for a multitude of reasons, you got to allow him the platform to at least get that job back. Because I think Bentancur has shown moments where he's been the Bentancur we know and love and the guy that we are singing songs about. But as of late, it's been 50-50. It's been sometimes his pass, I see 2 bad passes, 1 good pass. I see 2 good turns with the ball, 2 bad giveaways. And I think what you said, it's going to take some time coming back from 2 major injuries, rushed back nonetheless, from his own doing. He did rush himself back. But to me, you do have to allow some adaptation time there to come back from a major knee injury, because that plays a lot into your head as an athlete. As an athlete a former athlete who injured himself, you start. Can I trust this leg? Can I trust this leg when I cut? Can I trust this one when I'm trying to shift my weight? And so that can play a big role, especially in the type
psychologically,
And his position is a shifty position. It is a constant cut, stop, move, being strong, heels getting stuck in. You know what I'm saying? So that position in particular, I'm not saying that, any disregard to any other position, but the way that his gameplay specifically is very hard on your knees and your ankles and all those joints and stuff. So I understand why Rodrigo needs a little bit more time. And then I think let him come in and control the game for the last 25, 30 minutes or so. Why not? And so I'm starting Basuma in my midfield. I think that he would be at least then we can say we gave you a chance. Now it's a dog's race. Now it's whoever wants the hungry dog's going to eat, basically. And I think that that's a position of luxury now that we're in. Whereas it was before, who can we fit? What can we supplement?
Who do we play, Skip or Højbjerg? They were the discussions we were having to have. But look, it could very well be the case that Basuma does come back in and start today. We know how much Ange Postecoglou really likes him. Look at the confidence he breathed into him when he first walked in here. But look, guys, let us know in the comment section below. Bentancur Basuma, just spam the name and let us know who you want to see in that number 6. Look, of course, Papa Matasar and James Maddison should make up the rest of that midfield without a doubt. There's no real talking points across the back line. Or goalkeeper Dela should all sort of retain their place. So that brings me on to the forward line, Jacob. I mean, who do you want to see up in that forward line? Because there's a lot. I've listened to a lot of people over the last sort of few days, and there's various sort of different lineups. Me personally, I would like to see Son, Richarlison, and Kulusevski. Some people are saying they'd like to see Son, Richarlison, and Timo Werner, and other people are saying they'd like to see Son up front. I mean, what's your ideal front three heading into today's game, lad?
I think when you look at our season and say this was our best 11, I would go with that. And the 11 that we had when we were, firing undefeated, top of the league, on my birthday nonetheless. Thank you for that, Ainge and Tottenham. But when we were there, it was Son at the number 9. Now, I brought this up and it made a lot of people upset, Dave. And I know there's someone made a good point that kind of made me rethink the way that my thought process was. So initially, my thought process was you start Son through the middle. He's our most lethal number 9. You could give him the ball anywhere in the box, and I believe he can score. Inside, outside the box, he can score from there. So that's why I always tend to lend my let's go with Son in in that position. But I would also say you don't bench a number 9 who's on form right now, who can't stop scoring. If he goes out there and bags another goal, that's 10 in 9 games. That's an absurd run. So really, you don't want to also then stipend what Richarlison has been building up just because Son is back. Although Timo Werner, though, this is a great predicament that we're in, Dave, because Timo Werner as well, on the flip side, he could have 3 assists in 2 Premier League games. One of them got chalked off, so it's 2 and 2. He's got 2 assists. There's clear output coming from that left wing. So why change that? Why change the 9? The clear position is the right wing, where we're having question marks. Kulu, Brennan Johnson, are they giving us enough? Do they offer us enough in those positions? That's where the real tricky problem is. For me, I would get creative and I'd put Son out on the right. We know he's double-footed. We know he has no weak foot. He's 5-star weak foot every single time. So I would play him on the right because of the aforementioned, Richarlison is in good form, but in my ideal 11 would probably be Kulu on the right, Son through the middle, and either Timo or Richarlison on the left, depending for the game and what it called for. Because I think there's sometimes where you're going to want that pace to beat the man on the outside or to hit those channels. You're going to want that pace. But then there's also matches and certain matchups where you're going to want the power. And that's where I think Richarlison can come in handy. So for me, it's difficult, Dave. It's really difficult because ideally I don't see Richarlison in our strongest 11, but he is in great form right now. So how do you bench a guy that can't stop scoring? I mean, the 2 goals he had versus Everton, fantastic goals, fantastic. Those are not headed tap-ins. That one of them was a beautiful redirection, just perfect placement, and the second one was outside the box shot. Richarlison has never given us that. And he's starting to do that. So to me, do you mess with that? I don't know that you do. The best, easiest, quickest solution would be maybe get creative, throw Son at the right, leave Timo where he is, because you know what I mean? We all know Timo Werner's not going to be this Kylian Mbappe, Vinicius Jr. on the left. But what he can do is be a supplemental player and help in the build-up, help in threatening the back line and pulling people away from other players. And he does do that, and that has freed up. I think it's been working well for us. So I don't want to mess with that either until it stops working.
Do you know what? For me, I hear what you're saying, and it's a tricky one. But when I look at that forward line, I don't think it's been right for a large part of the season. I think it's one of the areas that I think we really need to focus on over the summer to come good. I don't think, we create enough clear goal scoring opportunities. I actually think we're sort of clinical enough with what we do take, but we could be so much more better. For me, it was very unpopular at the time when I said move Son out to the left and play Richarlison down the middle. Everyone was saying Son's too old, he can't play down the left-hand side. But the point I made, and I stick to this day, with Sonny out on left-hand side, he can score goals and he can create goals. No one else can do that from that left-hand side the way he can. When you put him down the middle, you're pigeonholing him into just a guy that's going to score you goals. And you're only really seeing 50% of the player. And if we're being brutally honest, you go back and watch a lot of the games he played down the middle, a lot of the times we couldn't find him because there's 3-4 big men in and around him, in and around the small little guy. And we were almost having to create that perfect goal. And my big point about moving Richie down the middle was everyone was going, the wingers ain't crossing the ball. That's the problem. But they weren't crossing the ball because they didn't have any target man in the box to aim at. Now that we're crossing them, the reason why they're crossing the ball in now is because you've got big Richarlison in there who can go and attack the ball. He gives you that outlet. And he's banging in the goals at the minute. And since he's come back from his injury, he's been absolutely superb. And he's getting better and better and better. Not only is he scoring goals, he's running the channels. He's holding up play. He's linking up with others. And he's added a goal, outside the box, very similar to what Harry Kane used to offer us in terms of all-round play. Now, Richarlison is nowhere near as good as Harry Kane, but he's starting to offer us similar what a complete striker should be offering us. With Sonny, it works when you play against a high line, but because of the way we play, teams spend most of their time sitting back in the shape and look to hit us on the counter. So it's not effective. So for the best of Tottenham Hotspur and not Sonny, I keep Sonny out on the left because of how good he is in terms of scoring and creating goals. Despite what Timo Werner's done, Son plays the left. Richarlison, for me, sticks down through the middle. I don't think you can take him out. I think you go to put a Werner or a Son down there, you're recreating the problems we had earlier on in the season before Ange Postecoglou made that change before the Nottingham Forest game. And as soon as he made that change against Forest, Son was the catalyst for everything, putting balls into box, creating. Moving on to the right-hand side, this is where I'm a bit torn, is because any three of them could start today. Kulusevski was benched, rightly so, wrongly so, I would argue. I think Postecoglou maybe benched him at the wrong time. I think we missed that sort of physicality and that presence to be able to hit the ball into him, to be able to hold it up, but also get on the ball and get turned and run and drag us up the field. Brennan Johnson could not do that. Timo Werner cannot do that. Them guys constantly and can only rely on balls in behind. And I get that Werner's got a couple of assists in a couple of games and he's doing all right. But they're from breakaways and he's done all right there. But can he do it consistently, run at players and create chances? No, he can't. So for me, I bring Kulu back in for that physical presence, for that outball. I felt like Pedro Porro was screaming at Johnson at times. Same with Bentancur. Come and look to receive the ball. Johnson didn't want to do that. And I think on that basis, I play Kulu and I use Johnson and Werner to come off the bench later on in the game when they are tired, where there is going to be a lot more space for them to be a lot more effective. So that's what I would do personally. Anything to say back off that?
Yeah, I agree with you in a sense, but that's why I'm maybe stretching what the realms of possibility could be with what Ainge is going to do in regards to moving Sonny on the right, because I don't feel like Johnson or Kulu have done enough at the right wing to say, this is my position, you have to take it from me. I hear you, and I agree with you in the Richarlison sense. I was just thought processing, exploring the fact of our strongest 11 in the past was this. But I understand that certain players may say, look, I understand that you're strongest 11. Now I'm going to play into where I'm now in that strongest 11. And Richarlison has done that. So fair play to him. And I would agree with you. You can't move him. You can't touch him right now because the man's on fire. Left wing, where with Timo Werner, I just feel like Timo and Brendan Johnson are going to more or less offer you the same thing. Now, to your point, that may be effective coming off the bench where, you are on tired legs and now right and left, you're killing them with pace. Where I would kind of say maybe that's why Timo Werner should be on the left and Sonny on the right is because one, like I was mentioning, he's been effective there, but two, that way we have some pace from the offset to threaten them with because of it.
But it's not pace you need from the offset, though. Pace is overrated, in my opinion. What good is having pace if you can't cross a ball like Brennan Johnson, like Timo Werner?
That's what Timo cuts it in on his right.
It's about having the technical players that are good enough. Especially you look at the way we start games. How often do we have teams pinned back in for the first 20, 25 minutes? What good is the pace going to be for Johnson or Werner? What you need is players that are good technically, that are tricky, that can use their strength to be able to hold off a man and try and create something. I don't think pace from the off, especially if they can't, if they're not as good as Son. I don't understand why we would want to move Son off the left hand side to fit in Timo Werner. Just quickly on Joris Wouters as well. What makes you say Timo can't do that consistently? Look, I go back to when he played on the wing a lot for Chelsea. Couldn't do it. He played on the wing for Tottenham. That first assist he got against Man United, let's be brutally honest, he passed the ball to Bentancur. Bentancur made that goal. He beat 2 players and buried it. It wasn't like Werner laid it on a plate for him. Now, the last assist he got, I think, was against Brentford. Brilliant. But he was played right in behind, had all the time in the world to pick out the pass. Not once have we seen Timo Werner pick up that ball and hit a cross into the box to find a man. Not once have we seen him pick up that ball, drive at his man, beat him, and deliver a good cross in like Sonny does. He hasn't done it yet. So that's why I say that, Joris.
Well, all these questions might be answered because we do have the lineups, Dave.
Let's go.
Go ahead and share them, right? Yeah. No Son, no Basuma. No Son, no Basuma.
Why no Sonny?
So Vicario in net, Pedro Porro, Romero, Van de Ven, Udogie. The back 5 was we imagined it. The midfield of Sarr, Bentancur, and James Maddison. Kulusevski on the right wing, Richarlison through the middle, and Werner down the left. So I was, I thought Son would start, but again, I leave it to Ainge. What do you think about Sonny not starting, Dave?
1 second.
I'll look through the bench real quick. Fraser Forster's on the bench. Royale, Ben Davies, Dragusin, Oliver Skip, Pierre-Emile Højbjerg, Yves Bissouma, Brennan Johnson, and Son. No academy kids for the first time in a long time.
Well, look, Dorrington's out injured, isn't he? And I think Donnelly has had some sort of slight issues as well. Just quickly, ball being counted. What about the cross for Johnson goal, Dave? Look, that's my point. There was no one there to be able to, there was no bodies in between him. It was just a free ball across the 6-yard box. If he didn't make that, I would have went ballistic. I mean, it's a simple 5-6-yard ball across the box. It's like, what I mean is he's not picking up the ball on the left-hand side from out on the left and being able to swing in a decent cross for people to be able to go and attack. That's what I mean. It's like you have to play the perfect ball for Timo Werner for him to sort of be in that position. But look, in terms of the lineup, Jacob, I don't get why we're not seeing Son. I really don't understand it. I get people will be concerned about his frame of mind after career being knocked out and stuff like that. And I get that he's traveled back. But the thing is, he trained Thursday and he trained Friday. So why is he not in this squad today? Why is he not starting? We need our captain. We need our best creative player in that forward line, especially against a team like Brighton today. I don't understand why he's not playing, Jake. What's your thoughts behind it?
I can say honestly, I don't understand it either. I would assume him to be fit, but again, I throw my hands up and I say, you know what? I do believe Ainge will know better than some stay-at-home dad in El Paso. I do trust that, especially in regards to Son's fitness, etc. Maybe he sees this as a chance where he's like, I did throw this out in the beginning of the week because I thought that this would be the case where Ainge Postecoglou does with Son and Basuma what he did with Papa Matasar, which was let you feature on the bench your first game back. I'll bring you on for 20, 30 minutes at the end, but I'm not going to rush you back. There's no need to risk your longevity on an immediate result. As much as we all want these 3 points versus Brighton, we need Son. We need Basuma. We need these players to be 100% without a doubt fully fit. And if they're not, then that's a detriment to themselves. That's what we're seeing with Bentancur and by being rushed back. And some even said that's why Romero had a bad first game because he rushed himself back from a hamstring injury. And that's the thing. Honestly, this was also a squad that was good enough to go win without Son before. We were good enough to go get the win without Basuma. So,
we say that, but let's be brutally honest. It's been very up and down, right? 1 week we win, one week we're not. So I disagree with that slightly.
Well, that's why I said good enough to win, not good enough that we got the win. Everton, we were good enough to win. in 90 minutes. The problem was the 94th minute. And for me, I like to look at Brentford in a sense of we got dominated for 45 minutes versus Brentford. And in that second 45, we came alive and we dominated them and took control of that game. If we can just play 90 minutes the way we play that second 45, there's been matches this season, Dave, and I agree with you in the sense that we haven't been strong for 90 full minutes, but there have been times where it's like, wow, this was a great 45 minutes, or wow, this was a great 25, 30 minutes. If we could just do that for longer. And Ainge said
Yeah.
that he hit the nail on the head in his press conference. He said, like, we are going to go out there and we are going to either score goals late or concede goals late. That is going to happen. This is the beginning stages of us trying to play the way we want to play. I don't want to play any other way because, you know, and Paul the Hotspur hippie, he made a good point about this too. That he's like, the best way that you get better at playing attacking football for 90 minutes is playing attacking football for 90 minutes. And just because we're a goal up doesn't mean we should change and stop the way that we're playing just because now we're playing for the result. We should always be playing for the goal. And that logic is what's led us to these, I would say, faltering of moments, mental lapses in judgment. You know,
I'll be brutally honest, right? I get that. I get that. And I do get it. You know, like we are in the process and Ange has to continue playing this way. But I also feel part of me and sort of brushed it off, so it's not psychologically sitting on the players' minds when it's coming towards the end of the game. So he didn't make a big, massive deal about it. But let's not kid ourselves and be deluded here. Conceding late goals is not a great habit to get into. It's really not, and it's coming back to cost us of late more so than what it did earlier on in the season. But you would argue it happened earlier on in the season. It's still happening now, and it's becoming more costly. So sort of like that has to be stamped out. I get what Andrew's saying, but what Andrew failed to say within that, we've also started off games on fire, scoring 8 goals inside the first 15 minutes. But have we capitalized on that enough? No, we haven't. We haven't gone and scored 2, 3, 4 and put the teams to the sword. So that way, when it comes to the last 10 minutes, we're not hanging in there. But because we're not scoring the goals, we're trying to have to hang in there the last few minutes. And lately, we're being caught, and it's not good enough. I'm sorry, I love Ange Postecoglou, and apart from Paul, I was one of the only ones out here putting his.
But it's not Ange.
But I want Tottenham to improve. And look, it's not all Ange's fault. But the reality is he's protecting the players, and then players need to stand up and be protected, because if it continues on this season, it'll happen into next season when we do have a bigger squad and stuff like that. I don't care what Ange said. That has to be stomped out regardless.
I agree. Late goals absolutely have to be stamped out. But the best way to iron, like think about if you have knots in your back. We have a lot of knots in our back. And the only way you work out them knots, man, is you grind them, and it don't feel good. Growth, becoming different, changing who you are is not an easy process. It is a painful, long process. And we have begun that. And I think because we got off to this great start that we thought, oh, now we can be even better quicker than we thought. And it's not, to me, growth doesn't happen. Like, the best food isn't McDonald's. That's fast food. That's just in your face. I want it now. And we were getting some McDonald's in us thinking this was our long-term plan. And for me, it just feels like there, with this game plan and the way that we set up and play in the Ainge style, in his first year, everywhere he's played, regardless of league and level and competition and skill set, it's always been rough in the beginning. And this is that roughness, the injuries, the suspensions, the shifting, the moving players here. And it's not Ainge that has told Romero to head that ball on to Braithwaite. That's not So it's not Ainge who told Brian Hill to not retain the ball in the 88th minute when he had it on the left-hand side and there was 10 yards between him and the next player, and he hoofs it to the back line. That leads to their build-up play, and Kulusevski fouls for the free. He didn't tell him to do that. That's just what happened. And he's also distanced himself from it, saying that I can only tell the players what I want and how I want us to set up and play. At the end of the day, it's up to them to execute it. So to me, I think that the blame needs to be shared. And it is Ainge in a sense because he's starting this growth for us, but it is a part of uncomfortable transformation for us, I believe.
I'm not blaming Ange for this. For me, it's when we, a large part of this season, when we brought players off the bench, it's weakened the squad. We haven't been able to keep possession on that the way we once were. And it's come back to cost us little stupid mistakes here and there. When Ange has had to rely on the squad players instead of his first team players, it's come back to haunt us. I don't blame Ange. It's the same old squad problems that come back to haunt us year in, year out. However, I do think there's a big clamour where, you're almost not allowed to say anything against Tottenham because Ange is the manager. At the end of the day, I love Ange Postecoglou, but I also want improvement. And it's that simple. I want Ange Postecoglou as manager, but I also want Tottenham to improve. And I don't think we should be so naive quickly just to brush off all the flaws. Sometimes you have to take note of it and say, okay, this is an area where we improve. How do you improve? By taking note of what you're not doing well, using it, rectifying it, and moving forward. So that's what we need to do in this case. I think there's too much clamour all the time of people protecting Ange Postecoglou, and they make the mistake anytime someone talks about Tottenham needing to improve here, they think it's an attack on Ange. It's not. This fan base, let's be brutally honest, you look around the majority of the fan base, look at socials, YouTube channels, everything else, everybody loves Ange Postecoglou. But they're getting frustrated when we rely on squad players. There's a dip. So let's not get that confused here. Anyway, I do have to bounce, Jacob, because I have to head over onto my own channel and get my own watch along and that set up. Big yourself up. Guys, I'm going Tottenham 4-0 today. I think there's going to be a big clamour around a clean sheet. We haven't kept one in 14 games. I think that'll be an absolute huge focus. And then I also think that we're going to look for revenge on them and hopefully put 4 by them like they did at our place. But guys, that's me. As always, come on, you Spurs. In the mighty Ange we trust. We never stop. Make sure you stay here, guys. Get all your full support by Jacob. Get your questions in for him and see him out through to the end of the show. Jacob, absolute brilliant today. I love this discussion. Let's have it next week again, my man. But I do have to go. See you soon, lad.
Yeah. Take care, man. And I hope you're right with that 4-0 prediction. I'd honestly love to see it. I hope that's what happens, my brother. Take care. There he goes, Dave at the Irish Hotspur. Make sure it is in the title of this video. So if you're not subscribed to the Irish Hotspur or myself, both of the channels, they are in blue. You can click them and it'll take you, open a new page. You go subscribe. It'd be very good for Dave, be very good for myself, and it's absolutely free. But big up everybody. Look, now I do like to do something when it is just me. I like to be interactive with the chat. Now I know We Are Tottenham TV and doesn't always ask the chat for their input, their interaction here, but I am gonna ask for y'all's score predictions, and I want your goal scorers as well. See, I got Joris Wouters here with a 4-2. Who's scoring the goals? Who's winning the game? That's what I want to see. So get those into the chat. I'll pull them up before we end the show, and then we will close out after we do that. But first, before we get into any of that, I do want to bring up the head-to-head lineups here because we've got Brighton's lineup. So in goal, they've got Jason Steele, and Tariq Lamptey is starting at the right back. Now, I don't think he's played a whole bunch this season. I'm actually going to check that real quick. Tariq Lamptey, how many matches has this guy played? 8. He has started 3. So this will be Tariq Lamptey's 4th start in the Premier League this season. I wonder if that's an area in which we can exploit. But they got Tariq Lamptey at the right back. Let me see if I can make this bigger. There you go. You can hardly read those names there. Tariq Lamptey at the right back. Jan-Paul Van Heck and Lewis Dunk as their center backs. Purvis and Stupinian. If you remember, Stupinian had that crazy screamer of a goal versus us the last time we played. So hopefully Christian Romero and Kulusevski, Papa Montessor, hopefully they can lock that guy up. In their midfield, they have Billy Gilmore, Adam Lallana, and Pascal Gross. Now, Pascal Gross, again, for me, he's going to be this guy. He is an old, wily vet. He's going to be able to control that midfield for them like he did last match. He was arguably their best player on the pitch last time we played them, so watch out for Pascal Gross. Facundo Buonanotte as the right winger, Danny Welbeck, and Kaoru Mitoma. So Mitoma, Tariq Lamptey, and Purvis Estupinian, those are the 3 names that stand out to me as players that are new and the difference in the way that they set up last time. Now, look, for me, I don't think that this really changes my expectations. If anything, I think that this should be able to help us. Tariq Lamptey, like I just showed y'all, he has had 4 starts. This will be his 4th start in the Premier League. So, quite interesting. Quite interesting. Let me know if that changes your prediction, but let's go. Let's go to the chat and let's see what y'all are saying here. I've got Rob Ragnarsson. There's a familiar name. How you doing, Rob? Good morning from El Paso, Texas. It says 3-1 Bentancur, Richie, and Werner. Love to see it. El Dante with a 3-1 to us. Richie to score 2. Bentancur to score the other. Love to see that. Anurag says 2-0 Richie and Kulu. Tottenham family's got 3-2 Spurs. Richarlison with a brace. And hey, 4 goals in 2 matches, Tottenham family for Richarlison. Prue, indeed. We were starved of the prue last week. Can we see the Pomba? I need me some Pomba. I will say that. I Touch Pigeons has 3-1 Richarlison, Madison, and Kulusevski. Nazrul's got a 3-2 Richarlison hat trick. You know, I've heard of Richarlison hat trick a few times. A few people are predicting Richarlison hat trick. Would love to see it. Don't know if it would happen, but could you imagine the scenes where we're saying 12 goals in 9 games for Richarlison? I think the most he's scored for Everton was 12 or 15. Someone correct me in the chat, but that's insane. That'd be crazy if he gets a hat trick. Zach's got a 3-1. Richie, Madison, and Son. Isabel with a 3-1 to Spurs. Madison, Richarlison to score 2. All right. Hey, a lot of people got Richie scoring. Keep the hot streak alive. Love to see it. Spurs GCTV, always good to see you. Says 4-1, Richie 2, Timo and Matters. Mike's got a 3-1 Spurs. Richarlison, Madison, and Son comes off the bench for 1. Talk to me nicely indeed, Mike. My Musings of a Football Fan says, big up, Jacob. I think it's going to be a great goal fest. 5-2 to the Spurs. Richie hat trick. There you go, Musings of a Football Fan. Love to see it. Paul Leo says Richie with 2, Madison and Sar. I would love to see Madison get back on the score sheet personally. Boon Seng Lee. How are you doing? That's a familiar name as well. V Scar's got 3-0. Werner and Richie with 2. Farrell's got a 2-2 Desmond. Oh, that's unfortunate. Joris says, Jacob, my prediction 4-2 Richarlison with 2. Madison 1 and Sonny with the late goal. Love to see it. I need us to get it back. I need us to get 4 as well. So Joris, Dave with the Irish Hotspur, I hope y'all are right. I need us to get 4 on their head top. And we got to do remember João Pedro 1, 2, 3, 4. That goofy celebration he did. Yeah, I need to get it back in blood. Bob Down Under says 3-0. Richarlison brace. Son, welcome back goal. Vicario. Vicario and back 4 make a statement with a clean sheet. Love to see that. I hope that is the truth. Ben and Sim are at the stadium. I believe they are. But if you stick around here, there will be a watch along on We Are Tottenham TV with the guys back in the studio. Not sure who they have. I'll be honest. I don't know who they have in the studio, as I am in El Paso, Texas. Frikazoid says, it's got to be 3-2, surely. Talk to me nicely. Machiavelli's got a 3-0 Spurs. Love to see it, Machiavelli. Good to see you as well. Boon Seng Lee's got 3-0. Richarlison scores again. I love to see it for Richarlison. I need Richarlison to score again. Come on now. Matthew Walker, amazed that Sonny's on the bench. I am too. There's Dave. Make sure you do subscribe to the Irish Hotspur. Dave and Jack, they got great content every single day, so make sure y'all go check them out. Sean Maxwell's got 4-1 Spurs. Madison brace, Richarlison and Sarr. And Happy Gilmore to get a very good goal for them. Sean Maxwell, nice to see. Big up to you. Love from Texas all the way to you out there in India. Sean Maddox got a 3-0 Spurs with a Madison screamer. I will scream. All right, Sean Maddox, I will scream if Maddie gets a screamer. I'm going to scream Sean Maddox. That's what I'll scream. I would love to see that score. Reiner, 4-2, 2 for Richie, 1 for Werner, and then 1 for Sonny from the bench. Love to see that. Rainier. Bruno's got 3-2 Spurs. Richie, Madison, and Van de Veen? Is that what the VDD is? Maybe you meant VDV? It's confusing with the acronyms. Matthew Walker's got a 3-2 win. Sonny getting the winner. Oh, yes. Well, the scenes will be immaculate. Holland is they're up 2-0. Very nice. Good for City, I suppose. Richie Rich dunking on them for a brace in the 3-2. Says Tribal Scan. Timmy's got 3-1 Brighton. Love conceding. Oh, I thought you said 3-1 for Brighton. I was like, what you doing here, Timmy? What are we predicting? Says Richie, Timo, Gross, and Dan Kulusevski to get a goal. Excuse me. Indrit's got close 1-1. Time for Timo with a screamer. That'll be insane. Johan Doucet's got 2-0. Porro and Madison. Porro needs himself a Premier League goal, so that's a very good prediction. 13 is Richie's most in a season. Thank you for that, Christopher B. If he could get a hat trick today, that'll be 12. So he'll be right there on his most in a season. But big up everybody. Yes, good to see everyone in the house. Anyone who hasn't put their predictions in, let me know who is going to win, who is going to score the goals. We'll go for about another 10 minutes here, and then I'll give you my predictions. Let me make sure there's nothing going on here with Spurs Twitter, because I always, on game day, just got to check out what are they saying. Obviously, there's some, just refresh, and it's Spurs play. They're warming up, and they're on Spurs play. But nonetheless, there again is our lineup. If you have not seen it, Tom Markkinen's got a 5-4 to Tottenham. Love to see that. Sonny not starting is a disgrace, says Ronnie. Look, I'm pretty upset at the fact that we're not starting what I would believe to be our strongest 11, but I do take solace, Ronnie, in the fact that Ange Postecoglou is going to know if these guys are fit to play or fit to start, excuse me. And again, I think it's a little bit of that treatment where Papa Montessar was probably good to play in that first match back that he came back from Senegal, but I think their long-term health is more important than the short-term, and maybe that's the thought process. That's about all I could see from that. But yeah, I don't know. I think it's not as bad as I initially felt. Like when I first didn't see Son in the lineup, then that's when I was a little upset. Hang on. Let me exit this out. This thing keep beeping. Got a couple more predictions rolling in here. Brian Hill's got 4-2. Come on, you Spurs. Boon Sing Lee, Man City up 2-0. That's not a score prediction. Good Head says 6-2 Spurs. Moss Chop says 5-1. Richarlison with a hat trick. Moabi 5-2. Richie 2, Matters 1, Timo 1, and Son with 1. Love to see that. Patrick O'Donnell's got a 3-0. Richie Madison and Sonny to score. I like that as well. Joey GB's got a 4-1. Goals from Richie, Werner, Porro, and Madison. Love to see that. We do need the clean sheet, Machiavelli. You're absolutely spot on. I'm from Dallas, Texas, but I live in El Paso, Texas right now. Nano Dice. Asking where I'm from there. Sunny7 says 4-2 Tottenham. Love to see that. Mark N 4-1. And the Brighton manager is banned or something. He is. He's not going to be there. I think he has yellow card accumulation for his antics. So I guess that's a good thing. Astray's got 3-1. Richarlison, Werner, and Sonny. Look, I think everyone's prediction has Richarlison scoring a goal, which is quite nice to see. Yosarian, good to see you. Says 3-0. Kulu, Matters, and Richie. Two dares to do, but in French. That's quite nice. Lee Redpath says 3-0 Tottenham. Love to see it. Tuan Vo 3-1 Spurs. Like to see that as well. Tony Rodriguez says 3-4. Very interesting. Yogi Bear with a 4-2. Love to see it, Yogi Bear. Tom81 says big up Jacob and all in the chat. 4-2 Tottenham. Richie, Romero, and Son, but Richie with 2. All right, nice one, Tom. Robert's got 2-0 Spurs. East of Bourne 0-3. Royce with a 4-1. Hug the Love Bear. That's a fun name. Says 3-1 Richarlison, Matters, and Kulu. Love to Nashville. Love to the East Coast. Y'all got it just a little bit better than I do. I'm on Mountain Time Zone. For anyone in America who knows, I'm on Mountain Time Zone. So I woke up for this show specifically at 5:30 in the morning. But for Everton, I woke up at 4:30 in the morning. And I still couldn't even make the pregame show. Jimmy Costco, Spurs 2-0. Werner with the brace. Love to see it. But big up Royce. Good to see you in the house. Sonny will come on after halftime. White Hart Lane will go crazy. 4-1. Come on, you Spurs. From Eric Hooverson. That's a very lovely name. Grandmaster Hinky says big up from Austin, Texas. Love Austin, Texas. One of my favorite cities in Texas. I would say top 3 cities in Texas, if I can be honest. But big up everybody. Again, if you've enjoyed hanging out with me, listening to me, you can find some more of me at United Spurs of America. It is in the title of this video. I'll also post it in the chat right there. If you do want to click that in the chat, you can subscribe to my channel where you can find me. I'm live 5 to 6 days a week. Yeah, we have a good time. America's #1 Tottenham Hotspur fan channel. So if you're interested in hanging out some more with me in another day, go ahead and click that link, and we can make them dreams a reality. Big things, says 4 to Spurs, 0 to Brighton. Richarlison with a brace. Very nice to see. Tennerpool says 4-1 to the good guys. Love to see that again. Simeon Tatum says 2-0 Spurs. Luke Millwalker is in California. Luke, you've got it just as bad as worse than I do. I'll be honest, worse than I do. Because if I have to wake up for a 5:30 kickoff, that means kickoff for you is at 4:30. That's quite crazy. But big up to you. You're awake. You're here. It's 6:30 in the morning for you. Todd Helliar says 2-2 Desmond. Cillian Kinney, big up. 7-0 from Cillian Kinney. Palm Beach, Florida from Rob Ragnar said. I already know where you're from, Rob. I knew you're from Florida. I don't know why I was thinking somewhere else, but I guess it is from Florida. Yanovo says 3-1. Richie Madison, Timo, and Matoma to get their goal. 8-5 goal bonanza. That is a goal bonanza indeed. Look, there's the link right there for my channel. If you do, if you are interested, or you just want to support a guy who's over here creating content as well in America for our beloved Tottenham Hotspur. But look, y'all, I'm going to give you my score predictions now. I have been modest, and during the week I have been very modest, and I said something along the lines of a 2-2 Desmond because I was giving respect to Brighton. But there's something to be said about when it's game day, and when it is game day, objective reasoning, respect for my opponents, all that kind of goes out the window. And I really say to myself, how can we just completely dominate this team? And I've thought that we've have really quite a few options. Brennan Johnson off the bench with a Youngman's Son off the bench and a Basuma off the bench. Those 3 names off the bench sound nicer than a lot of the names we've had off the bench lately. So also, when we look at when they dominated us 4-2 last time we played, there was a lot of pieces missing to our puzzle. We've got a lot of those pieces back, and I expect and I hope and I desire to see us perform to what I believe our standard could be. I think we got to go out there. And again, I said I was modest in the week build up to this because I was trying to show respect for our opponent that rightfully so they went up 4-0 on us. 4-2 flatters us, but it was 4-0 at one point in that game. So I don't forget that. And I want that back tenfold. I need us 4 goals. Do I think we'll get 4 goals? No. But my prediction from my heart, my passionate side, my delusional side, unrealistic, whatever you want to call it, I'm going to say we go out there and we win 4-2. But I can see this being a 2-1. I can definitely see this being a 2-1 grinded out win versus a side that's going back and forth, and this is going to be an end-to-end affair. Our game, the way that we play, lends its style and goes hand in hand with the way that Brighton play, and that's why it's going to make for a beautiful viewing for the neutrals. A lot of games kicking off in about 30 minutes from now, but ours, of course, is going to be the most exciting. So don't you worry. I don't think it's going to be an 8-5 goal bonanza, but my prediction is a 4-2. We're just going to Missy Elliott flip it and reverse it, put that thing on its head, and we're going to serve it to them the way that they served it to us. Look, I have a personal thing against Seagulls, so I need us to go out there and get this win. You cannot let the Seagulls come into your home and take your sandwich, all right? I let it happen to me once, and I've learned from my mistakes. Will never happen again. But look, y'all, that's going to do it for the show. I do appreciate each and every single one of you who has tuned in. We got a couple late predictions. You know what? We'll go for a couple more minutes, and let me run through a couple predictions before I say goodbye. How about that? Bruno's got a 3-2 Richie Masterclass. It is currently 12:24 in Australia. Hey, y'all staying up late in Australia, okay? Y'all folks down under, y'all doing the work too. America, Asia, we are the grinders. All right, because everyone in there in the middle on that GMT, they got it easy. It's in the middle of their day. They didn't have to wake up early. They don't have to stay up late. Oh, but we do. So big up to you, all the people out there and big up. Just subscribe. That's love from Nashville right there. I appreciate supporting one of your own. 125 in Melbourne with a 3-0 from Chris D. Love to see that. 3-3 draw from the Alaskan Hotspur. The furthest north Tottenham Hotspur fan that I've ever come across. It's got a 3-3 draw. Might have everyone, but not quite match fit, and I do agree with there. Mac Elwood, St. Louis says 4-2. St. Louis stand up. Shout out Nelly. He's from St. Louis. And his compatriot, I forget his name. Megan, 5-2. Richarlison Brace, Madison Werner, Sonny, come on you Spurs. Love to see that as well. Hey, thanks for the mention. This is the thing. We're all here in this together. I always try and interact with as many people as I can, with as many different people that I can as well. So it's all about the love here, at least in mine. But look, that's going to do it for the pregame. But Andrew Martimar says 2 a.m. kickoff here in Australia with 4-1 for the Tottenham Hotspur. Love to see that as well. Yes, Bob Down Under, I will be at full volume. The family is awake. Yes, I am doing a watch along. But stick right here on WeAreTottenham TV. They've got a watch along for you as well. They'll be back in the studio in just about, I think, 10 or 15 minutes, I think is what it is. So make sure you stay here. But again, do me one more favor. Hit that like button, because when you hit the like, wonderful things happen like fireworks. Inside, outside. Oh, there we go. Fireworks. All right. You hit the like, you get some fireworks internally and externally for We Are Tottenham TV. So share the love, hit the like button. Look at that. There's some hearts. You don't get that every morning. I hope you have a blessed rest of your day. Come on, Tottenham. I need a 4-2 win. I hope Dave's prediction is right, quite frankly. He's got the 4-0. Make sure you're subscribed to the Irish Hotspur. It is in the title, as is my channel. Again, peace and love, everyone. I hope you have had a great pregame matchup. So blessed to be able to bring this to you. And as always, folks, come on, you Spurs.